So like before starting the new episode, I want to add on two more cases. So for the first type, it's like right paw, right paw. So for even parity, you convert it into scallop, scallop like this. So for odd parity, you convert it into shield, shield. You can also put the things on the top layer. I mean like something like this. So you do this. It's the same whether it's on. So next up we have left paw, left paw. So for even parity, you do the same thing. You convert it into scallop, scallop. For odd parity, you convert it into shield, shield. Alright, so for episode 7, I'll introduce you the square cases. So yeah, so for as usual, this is the even odd parity cube. This is the odd parity cube. So for even parity, it's really simple. So this is how you trace it. I mean how I trace it, so you can follow. So for even parity, you just do this, like that. Then you get shield and kite. Then you do this. So you make a square on bottom. Then you just solve square shield. So for odd parity, it's really simple too. What you do is you just do a -1 move like that. You misalign the bottom. Then you do the same thing. This time you have the kite out in front. So next up, for the mirrors, when you are tracing it, you need to make sure like the top is you start from the same from for the top. For bottom, it should be the same, which is like this edge is next to the middle slice. So it's the same thing. So for even parity, you just make sure like this when you're executing it, this piece you start with the position where the edge is next to this equator like that, not this side. So when you rotate it, you do this. You set up shield like that with the piece at the same on the left hand side when you flip the cube over. So here, this is for even parity. So for odd parity, you just trace it. So for odd parity, you need to like move the piece, the edge, across this equator. I mean the middle slice thing. Then you set up shield and just solve everything. Alright, next up, it's mushroom and square. This is how I trace it. I hold this edge at this position next to the slice. So for even parity, it's for all the square cases, even parity are like the better ones. So this is what I do. I get set up kite. So for odd parity, you can't just set up kite. So what you do is you just set up into paw like that, and you do the parity shift thing. And you solve paw. So for the mirrors, let's start with even parity. So when you are tracing mirror cases, you must make sure like you start with this. You must make sure that this edge is on the right hand side of the slice when you're tracing it. So for execution, you do the same thing. You set up into kite. This is how you can set it up like that. So for odd parity, so just do the same thing. You set up into paw like that. and just soft paw paw. So next, square shoe. So this is how you trace it. I mean how I trace it. So I put one of this pair like that on the left hand side of this slice. So for even parity, it's just a simple solution like that. So for odd parity, I believe you guys know what to do. Just do the parity shift. So I convert it into paw paw like that, then do parity shift. So for mirrors, just make sure you trace the square in the right way, correct way. So for even parity, just do this and just solve it. For odd parity, just convert it into paw paw like that, then do parity shift. So next, barrel. So for barrel, for even parity, you do this. You make a 4-4 like that. For even parity, you convert it into shield like this. So for odd parity, you convert it into scallop. So for mirrors, even parity, you just do the same thing, which is converting it into shield. Yeah, shield. Odd parity, just make sure you trace it the correct position. So just do this, and then scallop for odd parity. So next, square and scallop. So for even parity, you don't need to do anything to the bottom layer. Just do this, and then just soft scallop kite. For odd parity, you misalign the bottom, and just do this. So for odd parity, I mean like mirrors. So this is how you trace it. So for even parity, you just don't touch the square. Just do this. I mean like just don't just don't touch the square on your first move. So for odd parity, you move the square like that, and do this, and solve scallop kite. So next, for right paw and square, so this is little different. So like odd parity is the good one, the even parity is the bad one, I guess. So for even parity, you when you do a slice, you need to turn both layers. For odd parity, you just turn one layer, which is the bottom in this case. So for mirrors, okay, so even parity, remember for even parity, right paw, square, it's different. So you turn both layers for even parity. It's the bad one. So just what you do. So for odd parity, you just turn one layer. So next up, is left paw. So like left paw is the opposite of right paw. So for left paw, even parity, you only turn one layer. So like in this case, I misaligned the bottom. So for odd parity, you turn both layers. So wait, I mean like After misaligning the bottom, you turn 2 layers. So like you turn 1 layer for even parity and 2 layers for odd parity. So for mirrors, even parity, so you make sure it's at the right position. So for even parity, just then turn 1 layer and just solve it. For odd parity, so turn both layers. So for right face square, so this is how you trace it. For even parity, you turn 1 layer. So what that means, like after you do this, you turn 1 layer. Okay, then you set up into scallop kite. So for on the other hand, odd parity, 2 layers. Odd parity is the bad one most of the time. So after you do this, you turn both layers. You set up scallop kite. So next up, mirrors. So for even parity, you only turn 1 layer after you do this. You can also choose to like bring the whole thing to the top so it's easier. So 1 layer, I turn the bottom to set up scallop kite. So for odd parity, 2 layers. So okay, then the top and bottom. So next up, last case, left face and square. So left face is like the inverse of the right version normally. So even parity, you turn 2 layers. Okay. Odd parity, just turn 1 layer. I turn the top. So mirrors, make sure it's in the right position. Even parity, 2 layers since it's left face. So 1, 2, 2 layers. Odd parity, 1 layer since it's left face. So after I do this, turn the bottom only to set up scallop kite. So by